The festa was magnificent. Not only was the villa brilliantly illuminated, but thousands of colored lanterns were suspended from the trees in the garden. And very soon the palace overflowed to the terraces, and the terraces to the garden walks. At each cross path was an orchestra, and tables spread with refreshments. The guests stopped, formed quadrilles, and danced in any part of the grounds they pleased. Carmela was attired like a woman of Sonnino. Her cap was embroidered with pearls. The pins in her hair were of gold and diamonds. Her girdle was of turkey silk, with large embroidered flowers. Her bodice and skirt were of cashmere, her apron of Indian muslin, and the buttons of her corset were of jewels. Two of her companions were dressed, the one as a woman of Nettuno, and the other as a woman of La Riccia. 4 young men of the richest and noblest families of Rome accompanied them with that Italian freedom which has not its parallel in any other country in the world. They were attired as peasants of Albano, Velletri, Civita Castellana, and Sora. We need hardly add that these peasant costumes, like those of the young women, were brilliant with gold and jewels. Carmela wished to form a quadrille, but there was one lady wanting. Carmela looked all around her, but not one of the guests had a costume similar to her own, or those of her companions. The Count of San-Felice pointed out Teresa, who was hanging on Luigi's arm in a group of peasants. "Will you allow me, father?" said Carmela. "Certainly," replied the Count. "Are we not in carnival time?" Ooh-wee. Okay, I didn't mention this yesterday. I'm going to mention it now. I went into carnival research and didn't get to even comment on the fact that not just yesterday, but even the day before, there seems to be some fractures opening up between Luigi and Teresa. These two people who we've learned are never to be separated. They are two peas of a pod. Their soul is one entwined on a tree that grew together from two seeds. I don't know. What was the metaphor they used? The point being, when Cucumetto comes out and offers Luigi the gold yesterday, Luigi, in his pride, says, nay, nay, no thank you. Whereas Teresa looks at the gold and thinks of all the pretty things she could have with it. I don't think I'm being insensitive by summarizing it that way. It is almost verbatim what they said. All the pretty things. Let's see. This is yesterday's sentence. Her eyes sparkled when she thought of all the fine gowns and gay jewelry she could buy with this purse of gold. So, mentioning all of that to bring up this today, and a little bit of what we talked about yesterday about the nobles and the peasants mixing together. Here we have Teresa being singled out by Carmela, by the Count of San-Felice himself, because Carmela wants to put together a quadrille. But Landon, what's a quadrille? I will tell you, because I just had to do a definition search myself. It's essentially a dance, a square dance. It's 4 couples, and it would feature essentially 4 or 5 choreographed dancing figures together. So Carmela wants to put this dance together. You can imagine, I'm trying to think of a movie specifically that does one of these. I can't think of a quadrille specifically, but think of like any Jane Austen novel. I know there's a couple of dance sequences in Pride and Prejudice. I believe there's one in Amadeus. Might be a little more raucous in Amadeus, and I don't know if that's 1800s France. But this idea of a kind of what you would imagine leads to square dancing here in America much later. Preset dance moves that those of upper society would know and would love to show off as part of their kind of culture. It was a way to meet people. You would dance with your prospects. For a lot of women of the time, at least in England, it would be a way to place a woman on the social scene and start to garner marriage prospects. I hope I'm not speaking completely out of turn on that. I don't think that's 100% the case here. Carmela seems to just want to form a dance crew, a dance squad. But anyway, the point being, she needs one more, and her father points out Teresa, who is essentially, I think, being plucked out of peasantry into this aristocratic circle, if you will. How is that going to impact her relationship, Teresa's relationship, with Luigi? He's spent his entire life spoiling her, and now she has an insatiable thirst for shiny things. If his pride gets in the way or his lack of income gets in the way, this could be a temptation. This might push her in a direction that begins the downfall of their relationship. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't know that for sure. There's only one way to find out, and that is to continue here tomorrow with a little bit more of the Count of Monte Cristo. I know I promised you some biography stuff, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I got it right here. It's in my hand. So when it calls for it, I've got it ready. Until tomorrow. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.